guys, NanMan here, and going to be doing a video that's basically a recap of SCG's regionals for Baltimore. As you saw leading up to this, there was 292 players that were at the event, which made it a great modern event to be able to attend, but a lot of rounds for one event. 9 rounds for one day, because normally you go to like a GP or an Open or something like that, and you're sitting there with 7 rounds that you have to play, and then you can take a break and go rest, and then have to play again the next day. Well, for a one-day event like this, it makes it very exhausting. And I put up a video recently, kind of like tips and tricks for surviving those sort of events, what you guys need to bring and everything going to that event. You can notice our setup's a little bit different from our normal videos, because behind me is Modern Magic Mondays is currently doing the restream since it is Wednesday. So that's going up on YouTube. So I've basically flipped it around and going to be recording from this side of the room here, just to kind of give a little bit of a recap of how the event went for me, for Brett as well. He was able to go talk about kind of the modern meta briefly, just kind of a little snapshot, if you will, of what to expect going forward here in modern. So I came somewhat prepared, I guess. I felt prepared because I was playing the deck that I knew the best. Was it the right deck to play, or the best deck in the room? No. It was neither of those things. It's a strong deck, and it still is a strong deck. You see that there are lists out there that are still doing well. I piloted Infect, as you guys know. I was tweeting about it, about my different rounds and everything that was going on there. So, did not come as a surprise, I guess, when I was expecting a lot of decks that were running black and for Fatal Push and things like that. So, we'll talk a little bit kind of how the tournament started, how each round went and stuff. So, event starts, already registered, cool, got to play mat. Play mat's sweet. Brett's all about it because he can roo all the time now. But sat down with round 1. Cool. Luck is on my side, it seems. No opponent. So immediately I yell out judge. Brett's like a few rows up there, knows the sound of my voice enough, and's like, what is happening? And then realizes there's nobody sitting across from me. And then one of our buddies who goes to our shop, Johnny, was like on the opposite side there, also was able to see that because he was facing towards me. So luck was on my side round 1, so I was able to walk around a little bit, get a little bit of footage for you guys, so you can kind of get an idea of what to expect at the event, kind of thing, which was nice. Brett had the bad luck of playing against Bant Eldrazi in the first round there. So of course I get the win, go to round 2, sweet. Sit down from an elf player there. He's rocking out kind of classic elves that you'd expect to see. Game 1, I have to mold to 5. Still a very close game. He just kind of overruns me to death, as you can do with those pumping elves. Game 2, I get there, turn 3, great. Game 4, wow, that would be crazy. No, Game 3, very close, back and forth. He flips over Collected Company twice trying to find a Malira. Came down to, he had 8 poison on him. I had a Blighted Agent and a Pendelhaven there. So pretty much safe to kill him as long as he doesn't find a Malira. If he finds Malira, I'm dead, because he already had a decent amount of creatures out. So it was basically, is luck on my side or not? Turns out with the top, I guess, what is that, 12 cards for Collected Company if you flip it twice, does not see Malira, so I'm safe, win round 2. Brett also has to face another Eldrazi player, ends up losing that match. Then round 3, I faced a really sweet deck. Dimir control, very graveyard focus with think twice, flashing back stuff, things like that. Ran the fatal pushes and just it was good. I also got Crucible Ghost Quarter Lock, where he destroyed every single one of my lands in my deck. Yep, all my Ink Moss gone, all of my basics, all my breeding pools gone, just sitting there with some fetch lands that I can't find any sources for. So even though I got crushed in that match, I still had a lot of fun because that was a cool deck to play against, and nice to see these newer decks come out of the woodwork kind of thing. Round 4 is where everything fell apart for me, essentially. I'm playing against Jun, and it's already a tough match because it's Jun, which is kind of walking around the event like I did in round 1. I saw a lot of Abzan Company, saw a lot of Jun, and I saw Grixis, some control lists, a lot of things that Bant Eldrazi, a lot of things. When I sit there with my deck and I go, well, this is not the deck that I should have brought to this event, and that did end up happening with that round. But it was tied up 1-1 going into game 3. I happened to have a One of Thing in the Ice in my sideboard to help deal with creature-based decks. If I end up facing Abzan Company, I could bounce all of his stuff on his turn and finish him off with an Inkmoth Nexus on my turn, or just deal regular damage, and also has that potential to do a lot of damage against a Jun player who's really willy-nilly with their life, and it's just like, oh, surprise, I'm going to swing in and kill you. So I have that in my opening hand. He's on the play, and Thought Seizes, strips it out. I take my turn. Cool. Pass back over. He asks to look at Thing in the Ice, I guess. Picks it up and notices that in the lighting for the event, I guess you could barely see a little bit of the art on the background through the Dragon Shield green matted sleeves, which is something that I didn't run into at home or at my local shop based on the lighting. You couldn't really tell, but based at the event that we were, the lighting that they had in that area, I guess you could slightly see. So he's like, well, I'm going to call a judge about this. Judge rules that technically it is a marked card if you can see through it like that, and which gave me a game loss. That's the ruling. Marked cards, game loss. So essentially no fault of my own for just playing this card, and at the lighting that I've had available to me, have not been able to see through it. End up getting a game loss. And basically the judge says, you get to go to the vendors, see if they have the card that basically you put in its place. It was like in the token slot there. That's, you check off what it was. They had it for Thing in the Ice. They had it back for Delver and stuff like that. But or you can try to find other sleeves. Rush over. None of them have the card, but one of the places has a set of sleeves that were brown and at least dark enough that I bought them and checked with the judge and was like, hey, are these acceptable? And they're like, yes, that'll be fine. So then I had to scramble to get my deck re-sleeved for the next round before it starts. And luckily, because Brett was there and our buddy Johnny was there, they were able to help me and get that switched over so we wouldn't have to run into that problem again. But I feel like that, after that happened, I was still feeling okay going into it. Even though I had the wrong deck for the tournament, I still felt like, hey, I might be able to make this work. if I get lucky again, get some good matchups here, maybe, you know, because I saw some like ad nauseum players up at the top tables for a little bit. I was like, okay, maybe I can get into some of those and just maybe there's those Futuron players that are running around. I'll get those. But after that, it was I knew that I was just like in my head about it and really psyching myself out, and it caused, I think, me to not play as well. I mean, that's maybe just excuses there. Like, after that, I played against an Affinity player. Again, very close games, but that matchup can be 50-50 essentially, depending on how the draws are and stuff like that. I have a lot of sideboard stuff available to me against Affinity / against like Lantern Control and stuff like that, but didn't really draw any of mine in game 3, so it was just like, well, you're really quick, you got it. I'm quick, not quick enough, and have no interaction with you right now, so then I had to play against a Bant Eldrazi, another close game and stuff like that. Ended up playing Johnny in a later round there. Just really, I essentially only got one match win based on that bye that I had in round 1, and I played and I beat the Elf player. I mean, I took games off of pretty much everyone I played, with a few exceptions, but like the Demir Control, I don't think I ended up taking a game off of him. I think he might have just 2-0'd me there. Just was like crushed my hopes and dreams. But one of the cards that was doing a lot of work for all of these black base decks, besides Fatal Push, was Liliana Last Hope. -2, -1 until your next turn is extremely good against Infect, by the way. Just like kill target creature. It's just essentially how it's set up there. So I ran into that. The Demir Control player had it, as well as the Jund player, and it's just like, wow, that is a card. I'm so used to like Liliana the Veil and dealing with that sort of interaction, but yeah, Last Hope just crushes me. So I made a post on Twitter about it, that as of right now with the meta, Jund's running around there, Abzan Company's running around there. There's a lot of those kind of decks. Control's trying to find if it's got a footing in this meta. It seems like Infect is not built for this meta, and so I'm going to retire it, if you will, until the meta shifts. And that's what's nice about Modern is 6 months from now, the meta is going to look different. 6 months after that, a year, it's going to be different. We see these swings, and it's just kind of how it goes. When people are doing more degenerate stuff, if you will, ad nauseum, things, you know, these or these combo decks out there, Infect helps prey upon those decks. If there's not a lot of that, and there's like these more mid-rangey stuff, you don't really want to be on the Infect plan. It's still a strong deck, even without Gataxian Probe. It's still good, but I really am glad that I'm trying different stuff for a little while, because I want to get better at Modern. I want to be a better Magic player. So by diversifying a little bit more, I feel like that's going to help. So I have so many cards and so many decks that I can just do that. And I have been practicing Abzan Company for a little bit, but I'm not sure where I want to be at. So we're going to have to wait and see as events come up and more stuff starts taking place. But a big reason, too, is why we're seeing these like red and black base decks, like Grixis, like Jund, and stuff like that, is that when Infect and Dredge were running around, Lightning Bolt is just not good. Terminate, you don't want to be throwing those cards into the graveyard, because with Dredge, they're just going to be coming back. Path the Exile was very relevant, and going towards white to get like Rest in Peace was very relevant. Now, Lightning Bolt and like Fatal Push and things like that are really good again. So you're going to have to be basing your decks and playing your decks kind of with that in mind. And you can see all the deck lists and all that stuff that are popping up on Star City about all the regionals. And you can see, like, they're all slightly geared towards the meta in their areas. But it is overall, you're starting to see a bigger picture now based on the regionals and based on the SCG classics. And as they start shaping up, they're more and more, we're going to see more of what Modern has to offer going into 2017. It's still early in the year, so we'll have to wait and see what ends up happening with that. But I also wanted to take this time to let you guys know of some of the other projects that we've got coming up. Besides Modern Magic Mondays, which you can see going on behind me there, we have some other cool stuff that are in the works. Like, we were going to start doing some more streaming stuff, doing some, like, Magic Online, getting into maybe some Standard for a little bit, doing maybe some Commander related stuff. We also have write-ups that we're going to start doing, as well as a podcast. Now, I've had a podcast going in the past called In Response To, that has been based on the Modern meta, and I'm actually currently uploading all of those over to SoundCloud. The first episode is already up on SoundCloud. All the VODs, of course, are up on YouTube in case you want to watch those. But we are going to start kicking things back up with more podcast stuff. Not just Modern based, but it will have, of course, a Modern focus because that is my main bread and butter, if you will, when it comes to Magic. But also, like I said, diversifying and going into other formats there. But let me know what you guys are rocking out in Modern. I'd love to hear how you guys did at your events, how you feel the Modern meta is shaping up to be, and what you're going to be doing going forward with your decks and stuff like that. But that's going to do it for this video. Just wanted to do kind of a quick kind of rundown of what's going on. I'm going to do some more in-depth stuff about the Modern meta and try to do some write-ups because Brett's got some stuff he's doing write-ups for. And if I can't do the write-ups very well, then we'll just make more videos and go and talk about specific decks because it's easy to just sit here and talk to you guys. So that's going to do it for another video here about Modern meta and SCG regionals and all that kind of good stuff. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching, and I'll see you guys next game.